Hi, I'm Bernie Thomas.
And I'm Natasha Thomas, and we are BT
Playgrounds.
And we are here today with...
Hi, I'm Nicki Gelfand.
Yay!
Yeah.
And we're just talking Ableton today, doing a little brief intro and overview of the basic functions of the program and what you can do with it.
We're hoping to make it so you can go from an empty Ableton Live screen to a couple of tracks that sound pretty good.
Yeah, and Nicki, I don't know if you wanted to take a moment to talk about your background with other DAWs too.
Yeah, so Ableton is completely unfamiliar to me. I only work with Pro Tools, GarageBand, occasionally BandLab online, but yeah, I don't know anything about Ableton, and I look at it and it looks like there's a lot of buttons that I don't know how to press yet. So I'm excited to hear about how to press these buttons and make noise come out of them.
Yes, and doing a little demo lesson essentially for the Tech Nook, right?
Yeah.
Gabby Danson sent us all an email and was like, hey, Nicki wants to learn things about Ableton. You have things you can tell her about Ableton. Y'all should meet up. And here we are.
Yeah, just hoping to get from an open, empty Ableton Live screen to creating clips and tracks. Hopefully in about half an hour or so, we'll see.
Exactly, because I don't know anything about Ableton. And I look at it and it is confusing. So I'd love to not be as confused.
That's the goal.
Right? And we've heard that before. And I've felt that before, that when you open Ableton, you're like, what is this?
Right.
Because there's just so much going on.
I can relate because there are some things that are really intuitive about it. And then there will be just one thing that unless you know where it's at, it can be tricky to find. And it can, if you don't know where it's at, it can be, frustrating, which you don't want.
Right, because frustration turns you off of using the thing, and then you miss out on all the cool benefits and unique things about Ableton that make it cool to use. So.
I think I also want to say I'm familiar with other digital audio workstations. I work with Pro Tools, and the interface on Ableton is completely different. So the transferable skills here are really just knowledge of the names of things, but not location or functionality or anything.
Right, and that's valuable.
For sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of them will carry over too. They just might be configured this way as opposed to whichever way Pro Tools does it. It's a lot of it's you can carry it over for sure.
I mean, that's been part of, as I'm sharing, I could say this too, that's just been part of my getting into live, into Ableton, is starting to make my own stuff again, which I hadn't done in a long time. Because I was using GarageBand and nothing else. And then GarageBand stopped doing what I wanted it to do. And so then I just stopped doing, but Ableton has given me a nice opportunity to do again.
The ability to just open up a program and then just do musically is very empowering.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. Yeah. All right. So
got an empty, Ableton Live is open and empty and very intimidating. If you've gotten that far, then you're where you're supposed to be. So do you see the vertical strips?
Yes.
Those are tracks, and we're going to be putting the various clips into the slots in the tracks. So any one of those tracks that says Midi. Pick a slot and just double click, and that's going to create us a little default length clip. Great. And you'll notice that when you do that, the view down below changes, and that's going to be that's the clip view, and it shows things like the notes and other controls for what MIDI is going through it. And the big part is the piano roll here. We'll be actually putting the notes down. And the way to do that is to double click on an empty note space. So for example, on beat 1, if I put just double click here, it's going to give me just a single note. Mm-hmm. Okay. So from here, we can just hit play on the clip itself. Each clip is going to have an individual play button. And if we hit play, turn the metronome off, we'll hear that nothing happens.
Right. You'll see it looping,
yeah,
but you won't hear anything because you have to assign an instrument to it.
yeah, which we have not done yet. So to assign an instrument, take a look on the left, and that's going to be your browser. Everything from effects to instruments to external virtual instruments that you might download, or just clips and samples that you kind of hoard for yourself. You can have them all sitting there for you. We're going to want to go to instruments.
I have Ableton Live Lite.
Oh, that's good to note.
Okay. And
yeah, so what comes with that? I see that there's some stuff in there, but there's also some empty things.
Yeah.
Yep, it's going to come with a pretty good selection of drum machines and a few, a smaller selection, but still pretty good selection of synthesizers, leads, chords, a couple of, sort of piano sound-alikes, that sort of thing. With Light, the limitations are more so on just the little,
like number of tracks that you can have going
That's
at any given
one.
time, and
you can have up to 8 tracks in Ableton Light, which is, you can make a
you
song
get
out of 8
decent
tracks.
functionality with it. Like we've got, this is a decent moment to say that like all of the classes that we've taught, or like the Marco Polo groups that we have going right now, all the lessons are geared towards people who are using Live Light. Just because that's the most accessible version of the software out there right now. You can get it for relatively cheap if you buy a piece of equipment that comes with an Ableton Live Light serial, or yeah.
Yeah, almost every keyboard or MIDI controller comes with a little serial to Ableton Light nowadays. So
Yeah, but thank you for making note of that.
yeah, there will be fewer instruments, but they're pretty functional. So instruments, instead, let's go to drums. And there will be you'll see the selection there. And one thing I want to point out is this tiny little, very easy to miss button down here, the little blue headphones button. When it's on, that means that preview is on. So when you click on a drum kit, it's going to preview that drum kit for you. But if you want it to kind of not be blasting an 808 in your face when you're just browsing drum machines, click it to disable it. So when I have it turned on, this is what it does. Browsing through kits. And it plays a sample of it before I even bring it into the project. But to make that, to stop that, it's a very easy button to miss, and I've had moments. But
sound is off. You don't know what's going on. There's some missing patch, and then it ends up just being that.
You just want the noise to stop.
Right, and you're like, it's just that. It was that simple. Okay.
Yeah. It's going to come back too, because this little blue preview button is in a lot of places. So, but for now, we can take a second and pick up a drum kit that we like. I usually go with my trusty 808. So to assign that, we just drag it and bring it into that empty MIDI track, and then let go. It'll load the device, and then the view down there will change, and that's our 808.
Buttons.
Say what?
Said a lot of buttons.
Yes, love buttons.
Those are all drum pads. Those are the easy kind of buttons. You just hit them, they make sound. But
he says,
well, there are a lot of buttons. There are a lot of buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the
clicking through.
Yeah. So what we want to get back to is the clip view where we were looking at the notes and
that little piano roll.
Yeah, we didn't have an instrument assigned to the track, but now we do. So to get back to there quickly, we can either double click on that clip, or you can also hit Shift Tab to quickly shortcut between the clip view and the device view. If you don't use Shift Tab, otherwise sorry, what? Okay.
I was just a realization moment.
Oh yeah. You froze for a split second there, so I was like, oh, is she gone? No, she's here.
Because the thing is, if you don't use Shift Tab, you can still access it, but it's way on the bottom right. You can always get to the clip view in the device view by clicking on these spots. And there will be times where you'll need to drag that view left and right if you have a particularly large device, but for the most part, Shift Tab will get you where you want to be. In this case, the clip view. So
more tracks that you stack on this. Am I right to call them tracks within the vertical line, or are they're clips?
Yeah, so the individual, you can call them loops, or I think in the Ableton manual they call them clips, but as many clips as you can fit in the vertical tracks. So you have one instrument per track, or if it's an audio sample, that would be in a track, or if you're recording audio from a audio interface, that would also be in a track.
But would it be right to say that like this device view that you were shift tabbing to, yeah, like that's going to be the same for everything in that track, like that's going to apply to everything in the track? Yeah,
I think I know what you're asking.
is that it? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that answers it.
So let's see. So once we have our instrument open and we have we're back in our clip view, just a quick thing about navigating the clip view, because there are times where you might have more claves, claps, and snares that can fit on one screen. So in this gray area where you can see the words, see the labels for the instruments, if you click and drag from left to right, it will let you zoom in and out your display. And
so he's like pressing and holding with one finger and then like
dragging left and right.
Yeah.
And I'll do it at the same time. If you click and drag up and down, it will scroll it left and right.
Very cool.
Same thing for the vertical ruler. Once you go to the top and it becomes a magnifying glass, click and drag up and down to zoom in and out, left and right to scroll it left and right.
And if you're using like a click and drag type of mouse, you can use the scroll wheel.
Yep, the scroll wheel will let you navigate up and down. To zoom in and out too, if you have a trackpad, you can pinch and zoom. It gets a little bit dicey if you're doing it over Zoom with somebody else, found that from experience, but in general, the most reliable way that I found is dragging up and down left and right, dragging up, down, left and right on our horizontal or our vertical axis, depending on what we want to see more of or less of. So let's get some notes down and let's play a clip. So the note that I put on the random spot happened to be a D3. This drum instrument, this drum machine, doesn't have instruments assigned to notes that high up. So we need to drag it down. This is going to be pretty similar to a lot of other DA, a lot of DAWs, and you can just drag it with your mouse down to, let's just drag it down to the bottom because that's going to be the kick more than likely. There's that big beefy 808 kick. You can extend the MIDI notes from left to right like a lot of other DAWs, clicking and dragging. But for now, let's just go ahead and hit play. Clicking on this right here will trigger that, that clip, but hitting the main play button will also play whatever clips I have ready to play. 3, 4. And it's making sound.
Yeah.
So from here, we could...
there's a couple directions we could go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could do like, there's other modes that you can input notes with. You can convert your QWERTY keyboard to be able to put notes in. I guess it sort of depends on where you want to go next.
Well, the QWERTY keyboard is easy enough. If you hit the M key on your computer keyboard, you're going to see a little. You have to make sure your zoom portrait isn't blocking it. You'll see a little keyboard icon in the top right turn yellow or gray when you enable it or disable it. When that's enabled, that means that your QWERTY keyboard is emulating a MIDI keyboard. So we have to arm the track for recording by clicking this, or else it won't accept our MIDI data. But once we do that, ASDF are our white keys.
In a perfect world, why won't it do it?
Well, the octave is, I think
the octave's too high.
Because take a look at look
yeah.
at where I'm triggering. I'm way up here.
So those little yellow lights that were lighting up when Bernie was clicking on his keyboard, that's showing us. So it's, oh yeah, do it again.
Yeah.
How do I get back into that view? Oh, I go back up to the first clip on the track, right?
Or hit Shift Tab.
Shift Tab will bring you from the clip view and the piano roll and the notes to your device.
Yeah.
But you could also get to that with your mouse on the bottom right by clicking on the, you can kind of see my little bass note down there too. A little preview down there.
Yeah.
But once we're there,
Yeah, show us that business again.
So I'm hitting my ASDF, and that little white square is saying, hey, the notes are down here, but you're playing way up here. I got to bring the octave down by hitting Z. Now I'm a little bit lower, not low enough though, hitting Z, and now my yellow notes popping up are right in that square. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can hear it coming
You're
from
in range, and that little box there is going to show you what your range is. That's showing you what keys they have instruments assigned to. And looks like when we're in the right spot, A is our kick, and that's a nice clave. S is our snare.
Those brings the range down. What brings it back up?
X is going to be raise the octave back up.
Okay, great.
Yep, and whenever you're done using the QWERTY keyboard as a MIDI keyboard, you can push M to turn it back off, and now you're back to normal.
Great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that can be another useful way to put notes in if you want. Otherwise, you can do this whole double click thing, or the third way, if you want to talk a little bit about draw mode, maybe.
Yeah, draw mode is really handy for entering more complex note combinations. So let's do that with some hi-hat on this drum pattern. So I'm just going to add some notes just the way we had been doing it so far by double clicking in the piano roll. I'm going to put a snare on 2. I am so not good at clicking on trackpads.
I know you usually have your mic on
I use a clicky mouse.
your clicky mouse on your computer downstairs.
So I'm putting a snare drum on 2 and 4, and I'll just extend them because I like to have them fill it up. You don't really have to, but it looks so nice. And I'm going to put a kick drum on, let's just say the and of 3. Keep it really, really traditional. Okay, let's hear that.
Nice and straightforward.
Yep. Let's turn the tempo down too, so it's not quite so frantic. Top left corner, you can drag that down, and you can also, once you've selected it, you can enter it in manually, 95 or 96, and just hit enter or return to solidify it. You can tap it out if you want to. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll play it for you automatically too. That's pretty close. And 90 works okay. So let's make it a clean 90. And
Oh, sorry. Oops, sorry.
You use your mouse to tap it in?
Yeah. Once you click on tap, it's going to start listening for beats 2, 3, and 4. So if you don't want to do anything, you can just kind of ease off of it. But it's I think if you have a MIDI device connected, it will let you do it on. It'll accept any MIDI key, but I just do it with the mouse usually.
Great.
1, 2, 3, 4. If you wanted to. Back
Really good.
Back to 90. Okay, so if we want to look at it, be able to view a bit more of the clip view, we can just drag that view up. And I'm also going to decrease the zooming by clicking in this window here and dragging it to the left just so I can have a little bit more visibility. And I'm going to find a hi-hat sound that I like. So clicking on these notes does not produce any sound because I have not turned on the tiniest little preview button. Yeah, anytime you see that preview button, it's telling you we can show you this whenever you do something, or we cannot. It's usually in a place where it's hard to find unless you know what to look for, and now you do. So now when I click on the notes themselves, I can actually hear what I'm doing, and as I move notes, it'll also show them to me. It'll also preview them as well. Hi-hat closed. That will work. And so I've found what note I want to use. I'm ready to put them in, but instead of double clicking, I'm going to hit B on my keyboard when my mouse is in the clip view, and it's going to change it to a pencil. Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
If it does not, you might not be clicked on on the clip view, but if it does, then you're ready to go. So if you just click and drag, it's going to just place down notes, and it's going to delete them when you click on them. Just one click to place, one click to delete. It will space them out depending on how you have your grid spacing, which is represented down here in 16th notes. So if I want to make them closer together or farther away, it's going to be Command 2 to widen them or Control 2, and Control 1 or Command 1 will narrow them. So I'm placing finer notes, 16th notes, 32nd, and it goes up and up and up.
Good Lord.
2048.
Look at that number.
Putting that
down
many
there.
notes would actually not be like the computer struggles to process that many. It's so 16th. Yeah, 16th is a pretty good number. But let's just say I want to very quickly put 8th notes over this drum beat. Boom, bat, boom, bat, boom, bat. I have 1/8 because I've set that with my Control 1, Control 2. Click on that to get rid of it, and now I can just drag from left to right.
And you've got
Yep,
a bunch of 8th notes.
bunch of 8th notes. Here it sounds like this. And say, for example, I wanted to put a bit of a variation like at the end, like more of a chick, chick, chack, chick, 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 chack. I can narrow my grid with Control or Command 1, and let's do it one more to get 30-second notes. I'm going to fill that entire last little bit up with some little guys. Now it's like this. And so the idea behind draw mode is that you can quickly place, delete notes, and change the spacing with the Command 1 and 2 to make
really efficiently.
very complicated rhythms in a hurry, ideally. Weird effect. And it's really easy to experiment with. And so when you're done with draw mode, push B, and you're back in your standard note placement where you can make selections and do things where besides just place and delete notes.
So now we have a functional clip. How are we feeling so far?
Looking good.
So far, so good. Yeah.